This is Conversation Balloons, a podcast of interviews with experts and friends about all things generational. I'm your host, Leah Farish. Hi, everybody. Are you ready for some good laughs about parenting Gen Z? Well, you're going to love this conversation with Chip Leighton, brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. Chip has the dead eyes and rueful smile of a father of teenagers. He went from the corporate world to viral content creator and a best-selling author with his first book, What Time Is Noon. And it catalogs pages of numbskull questions that teens have asked their parents. And he's crowdsourced these beyond just his family from his many social media followers and friends. In what his teenage kids call a pathetic attempt to gain clout, he has now published his second book, Dad, Can You Not? Thanks for joining us on Conversation Balloons.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
So, Chip, have you gained clout yet?
Probably not with the kids, I don't think. Maybe with a few outsiders, but I'm still working on it.
It's a lifetime project.
Yeah.
You know, you quit stepping on Legos in the living room and you think you're out of the woods with parenting, and then you've got teenagers.
Yeah. The dynamic gets a little different, just as interesting. I think it is a little easier than when the kids are younger and you're not sleeping, but they definitely keep you humble as they get older. You know, they get some good zingers for you.
They sure do. Tell us some of the craziest texts that teens have written to their parents.
Yeah, I mean, they break it into some different categories. I mean, there's the kind of what some people call like the dumb questions. I don't like to call them dumb questions because I'm not trying to make fun of kids. But, It's like the, hey, did grandma have kids? That kind of question. Or, hey, can you get lung cancer from eating smoked turkey? Some of the stuff it makes you wonder a little bit.
Where do you buy pasta water? I think you said.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I called the first book, What Time Is Noon? Because I've seen that from probably like 12 different parents, some version of that. So there's a lot of those. And then there's also a lot of them are just like instructions from teens to their parents on like how not to embarrass them. So it's like, hey, you can pick me up now. Just park a block away, kind of thing. Or I always like the, hey, my friends are almost here. Just make sure Dad stays in the basement. So, that's where we belong, I guess.
Yeah. I learned from your book that any text that starts with the word bra is not going to end well.
Right. That's, in the first book, I have a little, a glossary of different terms. Yeah. One of them is, bro, or also bruh, or bra. And those all mean mom, basically. So sometimes dad or other people, but it's usually means mom.
Anybody who is embarrassed, has the potential to embarrass them.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, did your parents say or do any cringy things as you were growing up?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I have, the new book, Dad, Can You Not? It's a guide for dads on being less cringy. So, I drew a lot from my own life, but yeah, I've got a few stories in there about my dad and some of the classic dad moves he made. Like, the one that, stands out is he was a swimmer, and this was like in the 80s. And so he wore a Speedo when he swam, and, he traveled a lot for business. And, one time he was in this like fancy hotel and he was like, hey, where's the pool? And they were like, oh, it's on floor 3 or whatever. So he puts his Speedo on, gets in the elevator, and gets out at floor 3. And as the doors are closing behind him, realizes he's stepped into a black tie cocktail party that's happening around the pool. So it's that kind of stuff. I've got hundreds of those from other dads, like in the book, just crazy mix-ups or things they've said. So it's a fun book, I think.
My dad would come in the morning to wake us up and say, let us be up and doing with a heart for any fate.
Oh, wow.
That really catapulted us out of bed, I tell you.
Wow, inspirational.
We just hide under a pillow.
I like it.
Well, this book, Dad, Can You Not, will be out in time for Father's Day. And what are some of the tackiest gifts and messages kids have sent to their dads?
Well, that's the thing about Father's Day is like it's like it's got to be the worst gift receiving holiday of any. Like all the as it should be, all the attention goes on Mother's Day, and so I've got no issue with that. But usually you just get like you're lucky if you get a text, or frankly on Father's Day, and it's like usually it's something like HFD, just like the basic minimal thing they could send. I I heard of, yeah, I heard of one girl who gave her dad a virtual hug for Father's Day, which I mean there's not a lot of effort going into that. So I do think this book is a good gift because it'll make Dad laugh, and I mean I do think people struggle with what do you get, a tie or soap on the rope or some classic thing that's never getting used, but this one I think Dad will get a few laughs out of, and maybe the family will benefit if he takes some of my advice in the book and becomes less cringy and embarrassing.
Yeah. You have a lot of great lists and quizzes in your books. And let me quiz you on a common scenario.
Oh, here we go.
You attend an event at your kid's school or college weekend. What are the top 5 faux pas that a parent can make that, with your clothing or behavior that will humiliate them?
Yeah, that's a minefield for sure. I just attending is probably going to annoy them, because I've got I have a lot of quotes. I've seen a lot that are like, probably the most classic one is, please don't come to graduation. There won't be any other parents there. I find that hard to believe. So showing up, I guess, would be number one. The classic one, I talk about this when like you're touring colleges with your kids, especially, but like, asking a question on a tour is like, that's like the third rail. Like you cannot do that. So your kid will be mortified. That's the big one. I've heard also on a college tour, I heard of a guy who tripped and fell on the tour. And as he was going down, he reached out and grabbed the tour guide and took her down with him. So that's obviously not a good scenario. Making conversation with other parents that are at the event, that's a no-no. So you've got to stay invisible in general with teenagers, other than when they need you to like fund their DoorDash account or send the Amazon login or whatever.
Yes. Venmo me money for, suddenly at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you ever personally feel like having a snarky response to these demands? Like, I used to tell my kids, that's a whole other canon not going to happen.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I'm usually not quick enough to have a great response, but
it was heartfelt,
Yeah. Usually I'm just kind of rolling my eyes or whatever. And my kids are getting older now. But only one of them's a teenager and one of them's not a teenager anymore, so it does change a bit. But I often get that comment on social media, like, "Oh, I want to see the parents' responses to these." That could be interesting someday. Yeah.
We want to take a moment to thank the Herzog Foundation and its growing media network, home to the Conversation Balloons podcast and other incredible faith-focused shows. The foundation is dedicated to strengthening Christian education, helping families, teachers, and entire school communities pass on faith and wisdom from one generation to the next. They do this through free training events, support for new and growing schools, and a media network. Learn more about how the Herzog Foundation is investing in the next generation at herzogfoundation.com.
You've started doing some stand-up and touring. Do you ever see yourself being in a sitcom like, Everybody Loves Raymond, Father Knows Best, Modern Family? What would a good title be if you were in a sitcom?
Oh, yeah, I don't I don't know. Probably Dad Can You Not would be a decent option. But,
that's true. That's perfect, actually.
But, I do
maybe
think
Father's Chopped Liver, maybe.
Right. Something about Cringe. I'm not quite sure I have it, but I do think some of this, and I may explore that someday, would be good fodder for like a modern day sitcom, and I think there is like I just hear from parents that there's like a universal kind of aspect to this humor, so it's just been fun to connect with the people and hear from them that they relate to this stuff.
Yeah, we're not alone in this.
We want to take a moment to thank the Herzog Foundation and its growing media network, home to the Conversation Balloons podcast and other incredible faith-focused shows. The foundation is dedicated to strengthening Christian education, helping families, teachers, and entire school communities pass on faith and wisdom from one generation to the next. They do this through free training events, support for new and growing schools, and a media network. Learn more about how the Herzog Foundation is investing in the next generation at herzogfoundation.com.
And, we have a lot of grandparents listening. And this morning I was talking to my friend, telling her how excited I was to be talking to you. And she said, oh, yeah, a friend of mine attended an event, and sat in front of her granddaughter and turned around and, broke all the rules by asking her how she was.
Oh,
and
yeah.
telling her she looked nice. Well, that was outrageous. It was so outrageous that the mother wrote to the grandmother and said, you really mustn't address the granddaughter in front of her friends. That was just over the top.
Yeah. No, just look away. Don't. That's that's going to be years of therapy after that one. What was she thinking? I don't know. The other grandma related text that I think of that I've seen is I think I've seen it twice. It was basically like, hey, what's grandma's actual name? I don't know if you ever told me that.
Well, it's so important to pass on the heritage
Right.
of grandparents. And, one family I heard of, named their son after the grandfather. And so he's called Papa.
I like it.
Now, your book takes a dark turn whenever you cite some of the, really, I'm sorry, ignorant things that kids say. Give us some examples of these things that show they really don't know basic, especially financial, but about food and how to prepare food. And
right. Definitely a lot of food ones like, hey, are these stainless steel pots microwave safe? That's those are about as far from microwave safe as you get. I've seen a lot of, believe it or not, sponge related questions like, hey, this sponge is broken. It won't bend. Or like, hey, do we have any sponges that are wet? It's I don't know. So there are a lot of food ones. There are a lot of like, getting their first job out in the world kind of ones like, hey, when do I have to give my 2 weeks notice? Which I shared that one online. I had somebody say like, yeah, I worked with a bunch of teenagers. One of them came in one day. He's like, hey, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. My last day is going to be tomorrow. I don't know if you're getting the concept of this here. So there's a lot of that I've seen. There's a ton of driving related ones. Like,
tell us about those, and and insurance and things like that.
Oh yeah, they don't understand insurance. Well, yeah, insurance. Like I've heard multiple stories of two teenagers. They get into a car accident with each other. They get out of the car and they exchange health insurance information. That's not going to help. They don't differentiate between different types of insurance. That like there's one kid who was like, Mom, the body shop wouldn't take my Cigna. I thought you said we had insurance. So that's one.
And conversely, going to the doctor and you cited one that said, I told him we have State Farm.
Yeah. No, it's constantly they're given the health thing at the body shop or the car insurance at the doctor, or like when they get pulled over by the police, they're giving them like that, the Blue Cross card or whatever. So it's not good. And then there's a ton of like driving related, questions like, one of them is related to insurance. Actually, one of them is, hey, I don't understand why Dad is so upset. Like, what's the purpose of car insurance if we don't use it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Use it or lose it.
Right.
Yeah. I remember one said, Mom is madder about this accident than the lady I hit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I love that one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The ones about like Medicare. Am I on Medicare or what was it? Did I ever work for the railroad?
Right. Oh yeah. When kids are filling out their tax forms, it's like, hey, did I work for the railroad? Or hey, was my job at Taco Bell government or non-government? So, yeah, there's a lot of good questions.
Now, seriously, I want to ask you: do you think these potholes in their database of very smart kids? Your kids are absolutely brilliant. I'm so impressed with their achievements. But do you think these gaps indicate a parent who has done too much for the child and handled too many things for them, or is it indicative of a parent that's kind of been asleep at the wheel?
Yeah, I mean, I think every kid's different, and I always like to say I'm not in any way trying to make fun of kids and try to actually like celebrate teen humor, because I think kids are funny, and I'm also not trying to criticize parents. And I mean, I'd like to describe how like I chose What Time Is Noon for the name of the first book, because I think it's like the perfect example where like you would never as a parent think like, oh, I got to explain to my kid what noon means. Like it would never occur to you, right?
Right.
And at the same time, if you're a kid and no one's ever told you what noon means, like you wouldn't know what it means, right? So it's just like there's no fault. It's just something that naturally happens because you grow up in different times, and it makes for a really funny moment and great content. So I think like 90% of what I hear and what I share is that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And so I don't think it's and I tell parents I don't think you should like beat yourself up if your teenager doesn't know how to mail a letter or write a check or whatever, because it's great that they ask you about it because they feel comfortable asking you a question and feeling vulnerable, and they're choosing you instead of going to Google or TikTok or whatever. So I think that's fine. And most of the stuff I share, it's like it is really basic stuff that they'll figure out eventually. It's not the important stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there are a few that make you scratch your head though. Well, I was like the kid he's outside the doctor's office. He was going to the doctor on his own. He's like, do I just go in where it says entrance?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're on a learning curve, and it is sweet. You have a sweet-natured approach to this that I think is very constructive and much needed, really. And I think you've done a great service to the older generations by showing us just where Gen Z's head is at, and not that you'll get any props from kids for doing it.
Right.
But tell our listeners where to find more of your humor.
Yeah, so so my accounts on social media are all under they're all called The Leighton Show, and it's Leighton. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I also have a website, theleighton.show.com. And so you can see some of my videos on that as well. And then the first book was called What Time Is Noon, and then this new one's called Dad, Can You Not?
Great. And they can get it everywhere.
Yeah, it's available everywhere. I'm really happy with how this new book came out. It's like I describe it as it's a guide for dads on how to be less cringy. So I'm obviously drawing from some personal experience, and it has tons of teenager text in it, but it's also got tons of these stories of crazy things that real dads did that people have shared with me on social media. So
Yes.
It's like there was a guy who he ate an entire bowl of Thousand Island dressing because he thought it was soup. It's that kind of stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, the funny things that we're definitely making dads the butt of the joke, but these are apparently true stories and things that dads do sometimes when they're not on their game. It's pretty hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your success, and I hope you have as happy a Father's Day as possible.
Thank you.
Given your situation. And thanks for coming on. This episode was brought to you by the Herzog Foundation, and the views and opinions expressed may not reflect the views of the Herzog Foundation, but I bet they get a laugh out of it. Thanks. Subscribe and review Conversation Balloons on your favorite podcast platform. Find me at leahfarish.com and on Instagram at LeahFarish.